Hi, this is a quick tutorial to use Blender to simulate the smoke. First, you need to download and install Blender. Actually, you don't install Blender, you just go to the builder.blender.org and download the 2.7879 version here and extract it somewhere in your computer. You get a folder here. You can move it anywhere. You can run Blender from here, but before that, just go into that folder and you see the 2.79 folder and create a new folder called config. This will make Blender self-contained, so you can move this folder anywhere, even on a flash drive. You can run it from there and leave nothing on your computer. Should you decide you don't want anything to do with Blender anymore, you can just delete this folder and it's gone. Now you can run Blender from here. And from Maya user, you might want to switch interaction to Maya. So the shortcut and navigation key would follow the Maya paradigm. So first thing, if you want to do the smoke simulation, the first thing is to select the cube object, use it as an emitter, and add the quick effect from here. Menu, object, quick, smoke. Now you get two objects in the scene. There's a cube as an emitter and there's a smoke domain, which is where the smoke will render. We will not render the cube, so we can hide it with the toggle button here on the camera, so it won't render, but it will show in the viewport. So if you hit play right now, you see the smoke emitted from the box, the cube. Now you see that the smoke was limited by the size of the domain. So you can, if you want the smoke to go further and higher, you have two options. Maybe you want to scale the domain up, and move it so that you can have more space. But remember, the emitter should be within the domain. If you move the emitter outside the domain, the smoke will not emit from the part that is outside the domain, like this. So the whole emitter should be within the domain. Now I can scale it up a bit. And another option to scale the domain up is to go to the last tab in this property. Let me enlarge this. This is called the dynamic tab, and scrolling down you see the smoke properties. Like now we're interested in the smoke adaptive domain here. We can let the let Blender decide how large they need the domain needs to be. You can add the size however you like, but the size that Blender really use it depends on the size of the smoke itself. You see the small box here, it used only in this box. Okay, now let's see the one more important property is the resolution, is the details of the smoke. The default is 32 is not very high density, so it can be used for the far away smoke. But if you want highly detailed, you can crank up this number to, don't go too high, maybe 100, something like that. Don't go over 200, it will burn your computer. Now another option is the dissolve. This will make the smoke disappear over time. The default is 5, I think it's 5 seconds, but maybe we can try 10. You see, instead of hit the roof here, the smoke just disappear halfway. Maybe make it last longer or more. Alright, I'll keep the resolution lower so that it will be quicker to simulate, and you can see the quicker to see the result. Now if you want the storm, you need to add the force to your smoke. You can add from here, add menu, or press Shift A to add the force field. You add wind here and maybe move it somewhere so you can see it. Now you notice that when you select the wind object, the dynamic tabs change into the properties of the wind. So here you can add more strength to the wind. It will make the smoke goes up faster. Now we need to add some vortex here to make it spin like real storm. We put it maybe here and increase the strength. Change the shape to point. Let's see the result here. Maybe too strong. Lower. Yes, you can play with this value until you get it right. Now when you get it right, the next thing is to bake the simulation so that you can render and use it later. Select the smoke domain here and scroll down to the smoke catch. You see it's grayed out because you haven't saved this project yet. You have to save it somewhere, and be aware that the catch process will create the catch files in your hard drive. So and this catch file will be can be large, so save it somewhere where you have more space. I'll save it here. And once you save your project, you see the catch can will not gray out anymore. You can choose a file format here. OpenVDB is a newer format, the industry standard format that can exchange with the other software. PointCat is the Blender internal format, and you can choose any. It won't matter. Right now it won't matter. Now you can choose the start and end, how long you want this simulation to run. The default is 250 frames, which is maybe enough. All you need to do is just press the bake button here, and you see the progress bar at the top. You wait until it runs to the end 100% and you're done. I think in the latest version here there's a bug in the baker here that it won't bake if your time cursor is not at the beginning. It will start baking from here, right here. So it's not good. If you use Maya key map, you need to right click here to scrub the timeline. But maybe it's good enough because you may not want this a few first frame where the storm is not forming up yet. But if you want to really bake the whole simulation, you need to go back to the first frame and rebake it again. Yes, it takes longer than previous bake. And this is at 16 resolution. It takes this long. Mind you, if you go up to 100 or maybe 200, the divisions here, it could take hours or even days to bake this simulation. Now you can scrub the timeline and see the result in real time. Now this smoke is interacting with light, so you have one light in your scene. It's called lamp here. You can select it and go to the lamp tab here and maybe change the type to something else, like the sun is the direction, like in Maya is the direction of light. Now for the framing, you can press the numpad number 0 on the numpad or not. This is Maya key map, so it's changed to something else. Anyways, you can go to the view and camera. Oh, it's changed to control 0. Now, okay. Now, unlike in Maya, when you move, when you navigate within the camera, you will move out of the camera, so you cannot pose the camera here unless you open up this right tab here by clicking the plus button here, small plus button here, and scroll down to find the lock camera to view here. Once you lock, it behaves the same as Maya. You can pose your camera here. Get the correct angle for your usage. And go back to the first tab, is the render tab, where you see the camera here. You set the resolution to whatever, 100%, and scroll down to if you're using Blender Render, which I recommend right now, scroll down to the shading tab, and you see there's an alpha here. Default is sky, and you get the gray background when you render. So you want to change it to the transparent, so it won't include the black background when you render. Try render once to see what it's like. Yes, that looks about right. You can continue from here. This is only render the single frame for testing. Now when you want to render the sequence, scroll down to, I forgot, I get back from the previous screen, render screen, with the escape key. Go back from the render screen with escape key. Now scroll down to the output. You can choose where you want to save the final render. I'll save here. And maybe use the default file name. Format, you can use PNG with the RGBA that includes the alpha, so you can overlay it with the other thing in your compositing. So with this done, you can press the animation button and let it render. That's it.